Welcome, everyone. It's been more than a week since two plainclothes officers fatally shot 16-year-old Kimani Gray, who, says the NYPD, pointed a .38 caliber handgun at them on the streets of East Flatbush. 3 days of unrest followed with dozens of arrests. Mayor Bloomberg promises a full and fair investigation, and that may well explain how this one tragic incident unfolded. But it won't tell us what it felt like to be Kimani Gray, or what society might do to save the next Kimani, not just from a violent death, but from a life confined to the mean streets on which he died. We'll explore all that in a moment. Also today, in our regular public intellectual segment, we'll hear how New York State could be fully electrified without oil, coal, gas, or nukes by 2050. Then we'll meet some city women who are leaning in at their high-tech jobs and ask why there are not more women tech entrepreneurs. And toward the end of the hour, we'll learn about Bitcoin, the controversial cyber currency that knows no national boundaries. First, though, Kimani Gray, those mean streets, and how to get them off them to a better life. Joining us, Nathaniel M. Quinn, head senior teacher and program team leader at Exalt Youth, and Shanduk McFadder, executive director of GMACC, Gangstas Making Astronomical Community Changes in Brooklyn. These two organizations work to protect and transform the lives of at-risk teens. Welcome, both of you.
Thank you.
And Nathaniel, when you heard about Kimani Gray, did a part of you say, gosh, I wish I had got to that kid with Exalt and had some contact with him before this?
Yeah, I mean, clearly it's a very unfortunate situation. You know, as we all know, the riots in East Flatbush came as a response to this shooting. And yeah, that was a big part of me that felt this strong desire, wishing that I could have gotten to this young man or to any young person who may find themselves in that type of circumstance. But Exalt Youth is in fact doing just that. I mean, we are reaching out to young people who are court involved. Not to say that this young man was court involved or not, but we do reach out to young people who are court involved and give them a chance and opportunity to develop in such a way so they could be prepared for the world of work.
And what's your role? I gave your title as head senior teacher.
That's
what does
true.
that mean?
Yeah. I am partly responsible for teaching a curriculum at Exalt Youth, a curriculum designed to prepare court-involved youth for the world of work. It's an educational internship development program. So we dive into many different topics regarding a young person's history, their social setting, their mindset, the way that they see the world, and for the most part, trying to help young people to become more aware of their circumstances and of the society in which they live.
And Shanduk, did you have a reaction when you first heard about Kimani Gray that you wished you could have been out on the street corner that day? Because I gather that you do some work with your group where you literally get out onto street corners in tough neighborhoods and tough situations.
Correct. It was an immediate effect on me. You know, especially after they do the gang involvement inside the situation. For me, I feel based on the lifestyle that I came from, that I helped direct the youth to that because I was directed towards that, which is one of the reasons why I've put myself in the place that I'm at now. And we used to be out in Flatbush. We were out there with Al Sharpton, Kimani Williams at one time, occupying the corners. So that area is something that we've already frequent. And for me, I didn't have a chance prior to talk with Kimani, but I've talked with all the brothers and youngsters in that neighborhood that knew him before and after. And it's a constant emotion that deals with me because I feel like if so much more was done, we could save a lot of lives out in these streets.
What might have been done? Again, not really focusing on the particular incident between him and the police, but what might have been done? What's your group doing to prevent people like him from even winding up in situations like that?
First of all, we're taking away the trend. You know, it's a trend of wanting to live the gangster lifestyle. You know, wanting to be out there for, if you look at where he was at, the times at night he was on the corner. You know, his mother stated that he had curfew, but Some days he made, some days he didn't. There was something that was out there for him for those nights that he didn't make his curfew that he felt was much more important than being in his own home. So we've been out, we're out there doing that, just finding out what are you looking for out in these corners. I know that we didn't have nothing but hanging out, and hanging out led to more issues, led to crimes. So we've been more involved in trying to get funded for community centers, for programs, especially when the summertime coming. Our primary focus right now is to make sure that we get some programs, especially for those kids in East Flatbush where we're directing it right now because they're the ones that's most emotional.
What event or what insight led you to get out of that life, and is it something that you think others can learn from without going through whatever you might have gone through?
Yeah, the leaders. It's all about the us stepping forward. When I say us, I'm talking about the people who have the voice, people who have the strength, the parents, not just people who don't have children, but people who see these issues and say, okay, this is something that we need to step up. Most people are constantly talking about the change that need to be made, but the actions aren't being made. And the actions isn't necessarily financial. It's just doing that, just coming out and showing the support, picking up a kid and talking to them and helping them understand, that they have different avenues.
And different avenues is where you come in, too. You're talking about opening kids to the wider world.
Right.
Give me an example of that.
Well, just to give you a quick review, and I appreciate what you're saying, and I think that's a very admirable thing, that what you're doing. You seem to have a very strong personal historical knowledge base about gang culture. And when we look at any type of organization, what we discover is that a participant in any type of organization definitely has support. There are definitely programmatic measures in place, all designed to make sure that that particular participant is being developed in a certain way, is actually learning to embrace a particular type of ideology. I think systems and programmatic measures are very necessary in order to contribute to the proper development of any young person, no matter who this young person is. Now, Exalt Youth, obviously, we deal with court-involved youth. Okay, so what do we do exactly? What's my role exactly? Mm-hmm. Well, there's, first of all, an incredible amount of communication between myself and the young person involved, with this young person's lawyer, with the young person's judge, or caseworker, social worker. The young person may have been referred to our program from a different program like the Legal Aid Society or the Brooklyn DA's office. So we're communicating with all these people, letting them know that we are definitely on the radar. Now, once the young person is accepted into our program, they enter the classroom structure, the first phase of a cycle. Yeah.
Why is the program based so much on after the incarceration? We have to put more attention on prior to the incarceration, because like I've said before, billions of dollars is spent, billions of dollars, just in the juvenile court system.
Right.
And if you've decided as a society to invest that much money into the juvenile court system, it's obvious that we have a problem with our children. It's come to the point that the children are the leaders of the family.
Right.
The adults can't make the decisions. The adult doesn't know how to teach their children. How is that possible?
Well, I think we really have to consider the myriad of factors at play here. Of course, we are dealing with a young person at a particular stage in their development, between the ages of 15 and 19, after they have been involved with the criminal justice system, however that may have come about. But, we have to look at the community factors, the family factor, the social setting factor, the hostility that young people may face on a daily basis. We have to look at all these different factors, and I think that's the role we play. What we're trying to do is actually stop the pipeline that will actually lead a young person from school to prison. That's a heavy rhetoric in today's society
that's
about
in
the school to prison pipeline.
I've said before, I believe that's in the schools. I know where I had my biggest loss, and that was me going to school and not when I got to junior high school and I was going from class to class. We began to get loose at that point, and a lot of the teachers are taken to go through courses for school to be a teacher, whatever type of teacher that they are. One of the things that we're doing with my organization is we're getting ready to start seminars for teachers.
Right. Okay,
to teach them how to identify with these youth, how to identify with a problem, if it's gang, if it's drugs, if it's in a problem at home. Just not just telling that kid to get out of the class as a problematic child. It's being able to, have the right type of education to assist them before they get to that level.
So it's something about not just teaching the course curriculum, but being able to make contact with people growing up in certain kinds of family situations, certain kind of neighborhood situations that you think a lot of teachers come in not qualified to do?
Correct, and there's not enough programs in the school. You know, that's one of our primary factors, getting into that school and saying while the teachers are teaching, let's say we have a sit down with our teachers, you know, on a daily basis and identify these children. Have them come into our setting and sit with them and figure out, you know, what's the need analysis, you know, what's troubling them, how can we help them beforehand.
And as part of that,
well,
go ahead,
you know,
Nate, go ahead.
I mean, that's very important. I mean, I think that's absolutely necessary. But you know, you will also have those students who may not particularly adhere to the specialized teaching that you may be charging teachers to have. I mean, some students will deviate from that plan and find themselves somehow caught up with the criminal justice system. Now, that's where Exalt Youth comes into play. We're actually trying to prevent further criminal justice involvement. You know, and I think we do an excellent job with that. Right? I mean,
in all honesty, I definitely would say that it all works together.
Absolutely.
You find out these different avenues. Like there's different organizations out there. I say it all the time. We're working with an organization called Faith, which is Fathers Alive in the Hood. We're working with an organization called Holla, which is How Our Lives Link All Together. These are all community-based organizations. And so much funding is going into so many other things where you have organizations like that where it's different steps. If you specialize in this avenue, you specialize in that avenue, you specialize in that avenue, you sit down, you bring all that together.
So do you think it's possible that on one level, Kimani Gray would not have died in vain because suddenly the outside world is paying more attention to groups like both of yours, and maybe the city now will come up with something, whether it's funding or more attention or something through the school system, that's going to be more serious than it was in the past?
Correct. It's not just the city. Let's not put it on. You know, a lot of what we have to focus on is what type of grants that we'll receive. As a nonprofit organization, it does not necessarily have to be a grant. You know, a donation. You know, we're putting a lot of our attention in this hip hop business, the music. You know, a lot of the music, you know, if you ask someone about drugs versus music, personally, I feel that music is more potent than drugs. You know, a young man that's smoking weed can smoke weed for months and years and it don't affect him. But he hear that wrong song, he'll come outside and emotionally, you know, even yourself, you hear that right song, it makes you remember something.
Right.
So with them, you know, they exploit the youth through their music, and a lot of them don't live that lifestyle. And the kids are looking to live that lifestyle, the fast money, the fast cars. So they are also guys that need to step up. You know, you're doing great. Now give back to the community the same way that.
Nate, the last word, we have 30 seconds.
So I mean, clearly we have to talk about the historical impact of a young person growing up in a particular community and the influences making the impact on that young person's life.
It's meant to.
Right. So you have to really begin to understand the beast against which you're fighting, so you can come up with very strategic, effective plans and programs, or you know, things in place to help this student develop.
That's where we have to leave it for today, but a really good conversation, and I hope you'll both come back and drill down even further on these things outside the shadow of a crisis like this.
Sounds good. Thank you.